Good evening, everyone. Today is Saturday, February the 27th, 2021. First, I would like to pay my respects to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. I would like to pay my respects to you viewers and anybody who's watching. Please hit like, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Now, as you guys know, during the beginning of every video, I always read a quote and then I always go towards reading the story or explaining the story from the quote. So I'm going to read you these two quotes. Now, usually there's one quote that I would read, but in this story, there's actually two quotes. So the one quote says, "Though a person recites much of the sacred text but is negligent and does not practice according to the Dhamma, he cannot share the blessings of the holy life, just as a cowherd counting other people's cows cannot taste the milk that comes from them." Sorry. And then there's another quote, "Though a person recites only a little of their sacred text, but practices according to the Dhamma and becomes truly wise, thus forsaking lust, hatred, and delusion, and no longer clinging to anything of this or any other world, he indeed shares the benefits of the holy life." Now, what does that mean in layman's terms? Well, that means that you can know anything, you can know everything in the world. You know, you can know things that other people don't know, or you can know things that would impress other people. But the thing is, just because you know something doesn't mean that you don't know how to apply it in life. And the most important thing about knowing something is to practice it and to apply it in life. If you just know something, then that means that that knowledge is just stuck in your head and is just theories. So there's a story called the Scholar Monk and the Arahat. Now, these two monks actually became monks at the same time, and one of them was a very scholarly monk. Like, he knew a lot of the Dhamma teachings. You know, he was he was a very renowned teacher among his students. And there was another monk who didn't really know much of the Dhamma, but he knew how to apply it and he knew how to practice the Dhamma. So one day they met up with each other, and they went to go see the Buddha. And the scholarly monk, knowing that he knew more than the other guy, was trying to ask questions to make the other guy look bad or make the other monk look bad. But that didn't really work because the Buddha knew what was going on. So the Buddha actually asked the monks a bunch of questions, and they were actually simple questions. But the scholarly monk was reciting what he knew, but he didn't actually recite it from the heart. The other monk actually recited what he knew, but he actually recited from the heart because he was practicing. And the Buddha actually gave acknowledgement to the other monk that didn't really know much of the Dharma, but actually practiced it. And the other monk, who was trying to embarrass the other monk for attention, for ego, the Buddha didn't give any acknowledgement, because the Buddha was saying that if you know a lot of things but you don't practice it, that means that in theory or in your head it's just theory. And he compares it to, let's see from the quote, he compares it to being a cowherder but counting other people's cows, which is the same thing as, you know, knowing other people's knowledge but not applying the knowledge to yourself. And the thing is that if you apply the knowledge to yourself, then you might find other things that was missing from that knowledge, and you could probably add more to it because you practiced it. Now, what was I going to say? So in every video, I always do two stories. I always do the story of the Dhammapada parables, and then I do another story that is not from the Dhammapada parables, but it is related to it. So there's a story called, well, I don't know what, well, yeah, sorry. So there's a story of this professor who was in a ship, and this professor knew a whole lot about the oceans. Like, he knew oceanology, he knew meteorology, he knew everything. But there was the quartermaster or the shipmaster who never went to school at all, but he's lived most of his life at seas. And the scholar or the professor asked the crewmaster of what he knew. Like, do you know oceanology? Do you know meteorology? Do you know this, that, and the third? And the crew or the quartermaster or the crewmaster, he told him that he didn't really know anything. He just lived most of his life at seas. And then the scholar told the crewmaster that he wasted all of his life because he's never went to school. Now, one day the ship sinks, and the crewmaster actually goes up to the crewmaster or the quartermaster actually goes up to the scholar and asks him, "So do you know anything about swimming?" And the professor says, "No, I don't know anything about swimming." And the crewmaster says, "Well, you wasted your whole life because you've studied everything about the ocean, but you forgot the one important thing, and that is how to swim. So you can know everything about the ocean, you can know everything about how the weather changes, the directions of the wind, the directions of the sun or whatever, but if you don't know how to swim, then you're going to drown, and all that knowledge that you've had is wasted down the ocean." So that just goes to show you that with knowledge is just theory. It's just theory. The only thing that counts is the practical application of it. You can know things intellectually, you can know things emotionally, but does it really actually work? That's the question. Like, does it actually work? Like, does it? So that's pretty much about the end of the video. And at the end of the video, I usually just say goodbye, and at the end of the video, I would actually give blessings to everybody who's watching this video. So please, anybody who's watching this video, hit like, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. And have a nice evening.